Prema, Padma Mataji, and especially all the friends, all the kids. And I'm very happy that some of the friends from last time are here. That means we had a good time last time. So that's good. So let's begin. We'll do short prayers and then we'll do a short quick revision. So let's see who all can recollect what all we learned last time. Om Ajnantimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vidamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So let's begin with having a quick revision. First of all, I must thank you and congratulate you that you could put aside millions and unlimited number of distractions and the other options, and you could actually choose to come here, gather together with all the friends today to get to probably learn a few pearl-like wisdom sutras from our own scriptures. So thanks for that. And because nowadays there are so many distractions, unlimited distractions, right? Especially nowadays online also. It's not just offline, it's online also. So thanks once again, and let's do a quick revision. So any of you can just unmute yourselves and share. You don't have to share the entire stories or the big lessons, but you know, in short and in a crisp way, you can probably choose some words to express what you remember the most from last time. Yes, Gaurangi, Rishabh, Pratyush, Radhika, anyone? Let's see who begins first. Yes, Rishabh. Yeah, Rishabh, go ahead. What do you recollect from the last time? You recollect anything?
Yes.
Yeah, so share with us.
Like last time, we learned that I remember we learned 4 things. I forgot. I remember the fourth one was devotion, I think.
Come again.
I think the fourth one was devotion. I forgot the other three.
Okay, maybe is it your sister sitting nearby? Maybe she can.
She wasn't here.
I'm not his
Okay.
sister. His mom's friend's daughter.
Okay, fine. So okay, let's try with some of your other friends. Okay, so who would like to share now? Pratyush, Radhika, who else was there? Then anyone? Yes, come on. I'm waiting here. I can give you some clues if you would like to have some clues. Yes, Gaurangi, go ahead.
Well, I don't remember like a lot of it, but like you gave an example of like two envelopes where one was like plain and the other one was golden, and then like you can't really choose which one you want unless you know what's inside of it. And then another one was like, I don't remember all of them, but like it was an example of like a pencil and how there
Oh,
are
yes.
like 4 different parts to it. I don't remember all of them, but one was like you have to sharpen the pencil each time and like some time in your life. And then another one was like an eraser. There's always like mistakes that come and you always need an eraser. And then wasn't there like an example where if you had an option, would you choose like an expensive pencil or a normal pencil, and like which one would write better? And it wasn't based on the quality of the pencil, it depends on the person that's using it.
Brilliant.
And that's all I remember.
That's very good. That's very good. So thank you. Those were the lessons from the pencil which you recollected. We had seen 4 lessons. You recollected 3 of them. That's very good. Regarding the envelope, it was about. It's more like you can know a person by actually knowing his qualities which are inside him. Okay, and not to judge the person from outside, right? So that's any mature person in this world has this realization at some point or other in his life. So good, you recollected good. So maybe I could just browse, take all of you through that very same presentation which last time we had. So let me share it here. Yeah, I hope you are able to see it now on your screens.
Yes,
So,
Prabhu.
yeah. So we had seen in the beginning the story of snake and mouse. You may remember how the person died, having bitten once by the mouse and then by the snake, and then we had the question who actually killed whom. So we saw that it was the mind who created the fear factor, and that's how the person actually died. More than the venom from the snake, it was the venomous fear from his own mind, right? So then we saw how in our lives, just like in the game of cricket, there is a pitch which plays a lot of role beyond the abilities of the bowler and the batsman. The pitch also plays a lot of role. Similarly, our mindset or our mental state of consciousness plays a lot of role when it comes to facing any situation in our life. So even a tiny situation of even a tiny difficulty in our life can actually topple us down. How? Can put us into depression. How? If the pitch of our mind, if our mental state is not very strong. So therefore, we need to gain good wisdom. We need to seek good principles and good values so that we can become strong mentally also, so that we can face any bowler on any pitch, right? So in that game of life, we also saw that life is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. You recollect. Then we had seen a story of a sensei, right? That there was a boy who had lost his one hand and he wanted to learn Kung Fu Karate, and this teacher actually taught him. And in the process of teaching, he actually won him the very tournament trophy, which was a big thing. And the boy couldn't believe himself that how is it that I won this trophy? And then the teacher revealed that the very what is it, counteracting move against your move was the one to catch your hand, and you didn't have one. So therefore, a good teacher can actually convert our weakness into our greatest strength. Okay. So today we may be thinking that I am lacking in this one thing in life, or this thing in life. Probably I would have been a better person if I would have, my hair would be like this, my intelligence would be like this, my complexion would be like this, my parents would be like this, or the place where I stay would be like this. But no, if we can place ourselves in the hands of a right teacher, just like Arjuna did. Arjuna chose to put himself under the guidance of a perfect teacher like Krishna. And what happened next? Next, what happened was that Arjuna's very weakness, which was to face his own people in the battlefield, Krishna made that as his greatest strength. Okay. So we learned this, the importance of a teacher in our life. In this only we saw the example of pencil, like it, as Gaurangi was sharing, that it doesn't depend on the pencil. Okay. We also had another example discussed, that how even if you have costly ingredients to make a pizza or any other food item, but then it more depends upon the ability of the cook, what kind of taste he or she can bring about from it, not exactly from the quality or the not exactly, it doesn't depend exactly on the brand of the those ingredients, right? So then we had seen the lessons from the pencil. So there's always a hand that directs the pencil. Okay, so we need a guide in our life. We saw that what if we have done some wrong things in our life, we can actually erase them also. So a pencil's trace can always be erased. So don't be disheartened if you failed at one point of time in your life in something, or you couldn't do your best, because there is always the next chance. You can always erase your past. Every saint had a past, and every sinner is definitely going to have a future. There is always great hope for each one of us. And we saw that a pencil needs to be sharpened, which means sometimes in our life there will be situations which will seem to be tough. In fact, if you're not getting any tough situation in your life, any challenge, then my dear friend, your life, I would say, is quite boring. Okay, so there should be obstacles, there should be some challenges. If there are none, then go and ask, go and pray to the Lord. Okay, go and pray to Krishna. Go and ask your mothers and fathers, give me some challenge. Okay, let my best come out. And how would that be? Let me be sharpened. Okay, let my life not always be a bed of roses. So then we also saw that how the pencil is all about inside. So we should not judge a person from outside. We should look at what values he carries inside. In this, we had seen the story of Chris Matthews, who was a young boy in a university, and then he came to wrong association and he got into drugs. Then he landed up in jail, and there he got this Bhagavad Gita, and that transformed his life and all his habits. Eventually, he ended up, going around and making many other prisoners into much better citizens. Okay, transformed. Yeah. So again, in this example of balloons, we had seen the real we is inside us, our qualities. That's what takes us higher in life. So which balloon will rise higher? It depends upon the gas which is filled inside it. It doesn't depend upon the color. Okay. So now let's go ahead. On your screen in front of you, you see a tree, right? Now, when you see this tree, of course, it's some things are written there because I made the presentation like that. But if you just in general see a tree, what comes to our mind? Like if I ask you to draw a tree, generally what people draw on the piece of paper is only trunk and the crown, the green part and the trunk part. Generally, people do not draw the roots. But believe me, any intelligent person can tell you that the most important part of the tree is in fact the roots. Why is it so? Because the roots are the very source of the rest of the tree. Okay. And if you water the root of the tree, the entire tree will be nourished also. Okay. Just like you put food in your stomach, what happens? Each part of your body also gets the nourishment. So in our life, if we compare our life to a tree, then there are three parts broadly. What are those three parts? Look at this picture itself in front of your screen, on your screen. So there are roots, which are your values, okay? Which are your values. What really do you believe in your life? What do you stand for? Okay, like you want to help others, okay? You want to speak truth always. These are the values of life. Or you worship the Supreme Lord, you pray to Him, you chant His holy names. These are the values. Second is our lifestyle. Okay, how we deal with others. What time do we get up? What do we eat? What do we not eat? How do we speak to others? Okay, how do we treat animals? Are we cruel to them? Do we exploit them? Or are we kind to them? How do we treat old people, the elders? Okay, things like that. So this is our lifestyle. Do we do our duties properly, like our academics, like other things? Do we live clean, neat and clean, or do we live dirty? Okay. So this is the trunk: physical, emotional, social, and mental well-being. And then there is the crown, the upper part, the green part, which means what kind of output are we giving to the society? The leaves, the flowers, the fruits, those are the outputs of the tree. Similarly, in our life, what contributions are we making to this world? What contributions are we making to the lives of our parents? What contribution are we making to the environment around us? Okay. So, in our life, this example says that we should have a balanced life, just like a tree is supposed to be balanced, which means the roots should be well nourished. The trunk should also be, like, imagine if the trunk is very, very thin, there is no good lifestyle, then he'll not be able to produce much, right? And even if he produces much, eventually he'll fall down, even if a little wind comes. Why? Because his trunk was not very strong. So in our life, we need to have very good values, we need to have very good lifestyle and culture, and we need to have very good contribution also to the society. That's how you call a tree a good tree, like that. Okay. So to make this example more understandable, I'll ask you a quiz now. So now let me see. You guys are sitting there in America, so you need to answer this. This is question from America. So there is this state of California, right? The most famous one in America, and there are redwood trees in California, in big forests. These redwood trees are one of the biggest trees on the planet, and they go like, very big, very tall, and huge diameter and all. So my question to you is, what is very special about these redwood trees? In case you know, or anything you know about it. Do you know if anything which is very special about these redwood trees in California forest?
They grow really tall.
Okay, who is this? Let me see. Okay, Damodar. Thanks. They grow really tall. Yes, you're very true. Thank you. Anyone else? Anything else?
I'm not entirely sure if I'm right, but are they evergreen trees? Like, do they last throughout all seasons, or is that wrong?
I am myself not sure about that. Okay. Good. Thanks anyways for your contribution.
Okay.
So I'll share something wonderful with you. Now you look at this tree in front of you on your screen. Look at this tree. Can you tell me what is it about this tree which is going to sustain it, even if there are hailstorms and there are strong winds and there is Katrina type of situations? So what do you say? What will keep this tree sustained and stable and in its place? What is it about this? Yeah, anyone? Come on, this is easy. Yeah, who's it?
Me, Pratyush.
Yeah, Pratish. Yes, go ahead.
I was saying that you were saying that what keeps it like so sustainable. I mean, I'm saying it's roots, like its roots
Brilliant,
in place.
brilliant, very good. It's the roots. So now let me tell you about the redwood trees of California. Their roots are very small, very small. They're very shallow, and the trees are very big, as she just shared. Okay, the trees are like huge. But let me also tell you that these redwood trees are some of the most strongly rooted and most stable trees. They have faced storms tens of times, and over the decades, they have faced terrible natural situations, okay, from the mother nature. Yet they have been standing there extremely stable. The quiz is how. They are some of the biggest and the tallest and the most heaviest trees. They have faced some of the most terrible natural disasters, the winds and the cyclones, and they have very shallow and small roots. Still, how is it that they have been the most stable ones? I mean, it's ironical, right? Yes. Anyone? Any guess? You can always guess. Try. It's not a quiz, like there are no marks. Go ahead, guess it. Speak out your mind. Why do you think is that so? We are talking of a tree like this. I'm sorry for my bad drawing, okay? Don't mind it. But how can this tree be stable? I mean, it's too much, na? Like it doesn't have much roots, okay? How can this guy be stable? It definitely needs to have more roots. Huge cyclones are coming. Okay, I'll ask you a question in a different way. Let us say Damodar has a group of friends, okay? And each of these 10 friends, there is 10 friends. Each of these 10 friends wants to buy, what do you want to buy? Tell me, Damodar.
A ball.
No, something bigger, something more like
A
costlier.
bike. I don't know.
Bike, good. Let's say they want to buy a bike. A bike may cost, I'm just assuming, I don't know what it costs there, but let's say $1,000. But Damodar has only $100. So Damodar cannot buy the bike. Each of them has only $100. So now what do? What's the solution? None of you can actually buy the bike. Come on, is it so difficult?
You could try to work for it. Like make money.
Okay, but you need, the offer is right, just there like for 5 minutes only. Then what? I mean, you can't work for 5 minutes and get $900, right? So Anybody can help Damodar?
Add all the money up.
Yeah, good, good. Where is that intelligent person who spoke this? Who is this? I didn't see.
Mihika.
Okay. Was it Nitai? Who was that?
Mihika.
Okay, okay, okay. Thanks. So add all the money up. है ना? Do you want to say something, Nitai? Your hand is up.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking it could be that they're kind of close to each other, so they could use other trees' roots to help them stay up.
Brilliant, brilliant. Let's give a big clap of hands to Nitai. Please, please. So let me go back and share with you that yeah, here it is. Now you look at it. These are those redwood trees from California. Just look at it. Their roots are pretty small. Like, I mean, when you're talking of large trees, these roots are very small. But look at those roots. They are intertwined. They are interconnected. Okay. This is called learning to collaborate. In your life, like you see your mother and father, they have collaborated with each other. You know, that's how they're taking care of you very nicely. You know, okay. So your mother alone cannot give you the same kind of love and training and all those things which your father also can give. And your father alone cannot do that. But together they can do that. So you see here, the more the number of trees collaborate with each other, which means each tree has its connection with nearby 4-5 trees. Okay, in all the directions around him, he has other trees. So he's connected to all of them. Then the trees which he is connected to is also connected to the trees around it. Okay. So like that, each tree in the entire huge forest has a direct or indirect connection to every other tree. That means even the brand new tree, which came out from the ground yesterday, is connected to the the biggest brother in the neighborhood, like in the forest, the biggest, like the oldest guy, which means I am drawing strength from others and I am contributing to others always at any given point of time. This is how in life we can attain maximum. Okay. Make friends. Okay. Value relationships. If you collaborate, then you can gain the best out of others also. Okay. So you need something for a day, you need something for a week. You can't afford it, but if someone has it and you have good friendship with him, you have good relationship with him, you can, yeah. So, okay. Okay, so was it a good lesson? Okay, good. Let's go ahead then. It's easiest to break relationships, but it's very intelligent to invest in relationship and connect with people. Okay. So now look at this one. Again, another lesson from another. I'm not sure whether we covered this, but last time. But anyways, let's do it. So there was a father. He had 4 sons, or let's say 2 sons and 2 daughters. Let's be fair. So this father told these sons and daughters that, see, I want you to go and tell me about a tree. I want to know about this tree little more than, like, I don't know much. So I want to know about this particular tree. He gave them the right coordinates or the exact address of this tree. And he told them, I'll ask you after 1 year. I want first son, he told, I want you to go and observe the tree in January. Second son, he told, I want you to go and observe the tree in April. First daughter, he told, I want you to go and observe the tree in July. And then the last daughter, he told, I want you to go and observe the tree in October. So at the gap of 3 months, he told like that. And then he came the next year. And then he asked all 4 of them, tell me something about that tree now. What is that like? I want to know about that tree. Interestingly, all 4 of them had totally different opinions. Now look at this picture. You see in the image, the tree underwent 4 different seasons. So the person who would have observed the tree in fall with the tree without any leaves, any fruits, any flowers. Okay. So that person said this tree is useless, totally useless. There's nothing, So it's like dead. But there was a guy who had seen the tree in spring season, and the tree was flourishing. The tree was fantastic. So his opinion was totally opposite. Now, what do you say? What do you learn from this? Yes. Anyone, what have you learned from this? Yeah. Raghav, Kanchan, Divya Simha, and if you would like to contribute, Saloni, Rasika, Radhika. Yes, Nitai. Go ahead.
It could be varying on their perspectives of the tree, because in every single, like, a tree, it's not like green all year round. So in the
Yeah.
springtime, it's just starting to grow. So that's why they might think that it's not like a very good tree. Whoever saw it in the spring, in the summer, it's like whoever saw it then, they must that it's a really good tree because it's thriving and it's just green and everything is good about it. The person who saw it in the fall may have like a similar kind of thought. The person in the spring, it's kind of just like dying out, or sort of. And then the person in the winter must have thought it's dead because it doesn't have any kind of leaves or won't have anything on it. So it just varies on when you see something or on the perspective of it.
So very good. You've been, exactly to the point. Now my question to you is, what lesson can you learn from it in our own life? When you deal with people, what lesson do you learn from this example?
Don't judge people as they look.
Yes, very good. Don't judge people right away. People may be going through different times of ups and downs in their lives. So if you find a person going through the fall season in that phase of his life, wait for some time. He may still be having some of the better qualities in himself to exhibit. It may just take some other time. So good. And also give yourself some points. When you may be undergoing downs or ups in life, know that life is there ahead also. Okay, let's go ahead. So we had covered lessons from pencil. Now I have this one for you. This is very interesting. Okay, lessons from moth. So this lesson is very important for us. Next 5 lessons in next 20 minutes. That's how we will be winding up today. So this is going to be like very, very helpful to you. If you learn these are from 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. These 5 lessons. Let us see, after we cover these 5 lessons, who can recollect all 5 of them. Okay. It'll not be tough, promise it won't be tough. So the first one, I hope you guys are ready. The first one, lessons from moth. What is moth? I hope you know it, but in case you don't, it's a small insect. It's a small insects, tiny insects. So they are drawn to fire. They're drawn to fire. They're drawn to yellow flowers in the fields. Okay, like tulips or I don't know, any kind of yellow flowers, sunflowers or something. But mainly they're drawn to fire. So the moment they see fire, it may be a candle or it may be a big fire. The very moment they see fire, they just dash into it. Okay. Now what happens? What do you think happens to that little insect when it enters the fire? It burns up. Yes, exactly. It burns up totally. It just ends up dead. Okay. So this is the lesson given in Srimad Bhagavatam, that when in front of our eyes we see an opportunity to do something wrong, and at that time to maybe have an immediate sense enjoyment which may be not exactly allowed for us. Like for example, in teenage, a young boy or girl may see another young boy or girl. Like a young boy sees a young girl and he knows that this girl is not my wife, or this girl is not like exactly my property or something. But then he may be wanting to have not so good friendship with her in order to exploit her, and that time it may seem very nice to him. Okay, I'm enjoying, but actually eventually that will only lead him into troubles, and he may get distracted from his own focus in life towards uh, developing himself in life, or towards developing his own career or something. So therefore, with our eyes, we have to be very careful. Sometimes you may see on internet or in the newspapers or somewhere some not so good sites. Okay, something which is not good for our life. So we should remember the moth, that the moth's weakness was the attraction towards the fire which it sees from its eyes. So at that moment it may seem nice. Like if you touch a snake, snake seems very cool. I don't know if any of you touched the snake, but snake really, like, its body is always cool. It's a cold-blooded animal. But so you may not like, oh, snake is very nice, I'm feeling hot, so let me roll the snake on my body. But only problem is those will be the last moments of your life because the snake will bite you. Similarly, like the fire, like the snake, just because it feels good at that time doesn't mean it's good. Now if you take gasoline, petrol, okay, generally kids like its vapors, and kids like its smell, or like for example firecrackers. I don't know, do you do that in America? Do you play firecrackers? Yeah, do you? Okay, you understand what is firecrackers. They light them on Diwali, and they sound, and they burst with fire with nice sound. Anyways, so if you don't know how to handle them properly, you end up getting burnt. So the whole idea is that we should always remember, just because it looks good doesn't mean I should indulge in it, because I may end up with troubles. Next lesson. Okay, so I hope this was good for you. Next lesson. Lessons from an elephant. So the first lesson was lesson about sight, our eyes. The eyes could lead us to the eyes could be weak, and then they may lead us to something which is not good for us. Then lessons from elephant. This is second lesson. This is lesson about touch. So how do they catch an elephant? Like if the circus people or hunters, if they want to catch an elephant, how do they catch? So what they do is, I think I'll draw you on the whiteboard. Let's clear it. So what they do in the forest, so they, like, let us say here is an elephant whom they want to catch. This is elephant. Okay. So they keep another elephant here. Now this is E, but she's actually a female elephant. Okay. So this guy was male and this is female. So what happens is that this guy is attracted to this female elephant. How? They send this female elephant like this, and she goes and just touches this guy. Just touches for a moment, and then she goes away here. So he also comes, So this male is following the female, like the boy is following the girl. So then going on this path, like this, like this, like this, suddenly the girl takes like this path. So she goes like this, and like this, and like this. And she comes and stands here. Okay. So this is that female. Now this male elephant is here, and he is thinking, "Arey, this girl is, not very intelligent. She went like this, so I can just go straight, na? I don't have to go like in that way." So what he does, he goes like this. Only problem is there was a ditch here, a big pit, a big hole, which the hunters had created, and they had put leaves on that, like they had covered it with leaves, so that the male elephant is not able to see. And what happens? The male elephant comes this way, and then he falls inside. Okay, so he's caught. How is he caught? Because of the sensation of touch between him and the female elephant. So therefore, sometimes in the teenage, we may be infatuated to, enjoy the company of opposite sex. So we should be careful. How we should be careful? That I should not fall into wrong habits. I should not fall into wrong association. I should not fall into a wrong lifestyle. I have a big life ahead of me. Even the President Bill Clinton of America, one of the previous presidents, Bill Clinton, he got into unnecessary complications in his life. Okay. So, anyways, I hope this was a good example for you also to know from the scriptures. So this was about touch, which means our skin. First one was about our eyes, weakness of eyes. Second one is about the lesson for our skin. Next lesson. Okay. Lessons from bumblebee. So bumblebee, like this, the bee comes and she goes and sits on the flower, right? She drinks the nectar. So what happens? Sometimes, like the flower is there, a booming flower, and the bumblebee comes, drinks the nectar, collects it, takes it to her own place wherever she was. She had her home, and sometimes what happens? She's so intoxicated. Oh, this is so nice. This is so nice. Oh, I'm drinking the nectar, and then the sun sets. It becomes evening, and the flower closes. Okay, the petals close like this. So the bee is caught inside. And once the oxygen gets over, like whatever was there inside, little bit, after a few hours, in the middle of the night, she dies inside that flower. That very flower, which was the source of nectarian taste for the bumblebee, is now her own grave. Why? Because the smell of the nectar, that becomes the source of that becomes the cause of the death of the bumblebee. So a little time back, the very flower which was the source of greatest sense gratification, greatest enjoyment for the bumblebee, is now her own grave, her own deathbed. Okay. So similarly, like our eyes for the moth, like our skin for the elephant, similarly like the smell, our nose for the bumblebee can be the cause of obstructions and distractions in our life. So we should be careful. Okay. Like somebody may give you wine or beer or something that, see, it smells so nice, why don't you drink it? But then you should know, okay, do I want to do it? Is it good for me really? Would my parents like me to do it? Would my teachers recommend it? No. Then why should I? Let's go ahead. Fourth lesson. This is a lesson from deer. So you know deers, they are so beautiful to look at. Very good creatures, right? So one time, like these deers were there in the forest. Now you see all of them, they're looking this side now. Oh, with great interest they're looking. So why are they looking? Because the deers, they have a weakness of sound, ears. Okay. So what does the hunter do? Like here is the hunter. What does it do? It plays some nice musical instrument, some flute or something like that. So when the deers hear that, they're not able to control themselves. They come running. They come close to the hunter. And what happens? Those deers are caught by the hunter. Oh, now you're my property. Now I'll take you, I'll chain you up, and I'll beat you, I'll train you, and I'll use you in the circus to earn money. Right? So again, somebody may talk to us something, or we may hear some things, and if it is not good for us, actually, even though it may sound good, it may appear good, but if that is not connected to our right values, right principles of our life, then we should be careful, because we can end up getting chained. Okay, so let's go ahead. This was the fourth one. First one was moth for eyes. Second one was elephant for skin. Third one was bumblebee for smell. Fourth one was deer for ears, for sound. Okay. Then the fifth one, fish. Yes, fish. That is for tongue, taste. So you are in America, you definitely know people go for fishing, right? So how do they fish? The fish, they have that, I don't know what they call it, but what this guy is holding now.
Fishing rod.
Fishing rod, yeah, thanks. So they have that fishing rod, and they put it into they have some thread like thing hanging from the front end. They put it into the water, they dip it inside the water, and the fish, they catch the fish through it. Now, why does the fish actually get caught? How is it that the fish gets attracted to it? Yeah, what do they do to attract the fish?
There's like this fish food.
Yeah, fish food. Yes, exactly. So what technically we call it as bait. Bait means something which the fish likes to eat, the fish food. So that's what they put at that end. And then the fish comes and it tries to eat it, but while trying to eat it, there is a hook. There is a small hook kind of end, like a pointed end, and that gets inserted into the fish's, the tongue or whatever, and then the fish is crying with pain. Oh, imagine if somebody puts a hook through your tongue or through your mouth. My God, it's unimaginable. So then the fish is crying with pain, and then the guy lifts up because he feels the weight of the fish. So he knows the fish is caught. So he lifts it out, and then he separates cruelly. He just separates the fish like this. And the fish is without the water, and he just put the fish. And now the fish is going to be very soon finding itself on somebody's plate and then in somebody's mouth and the stomach. And why did it all happen for her? Because she could not control her tongue. She's getting naturally good amount of food in the ocean water, in the sea water given by God. Why does she have to go for that extra thing? So just like moth, just like the elephant, just like the deer, just like the bumblebee, same thing for the fish. This time with the tongue. Okay. So eyes, nose, ears, skin, and the tongue. Any of them can anytime lead us to our own, lead us to great problems, lead us to great traps. Therefore, we should be careful. Whether it's internet, whether it's wrong friends, whether it's wrong books, whether it's wrong movies, whether it's wrong activities, whether it's wrong drugs or anything like eatable, or whether it's wrong kind of friendship, anything, we should be careful. We should be very careful. We should not become victims like these. Okay. So one more extra lessons from honeybee. So you see the honeybees here on the left side. So these honeybees, now these are different from the bumblebees, right? These are the little tinier one, generally brown in color. And what do? So they live together in a big honeycomb, and they go around, they collect again the nectar from the flowers, and then they come and store it in the form of honey, right? That's why they're called as honeybees. So they, like, one honeybee is how much, this big, right? And it goes around like that. How big will be its stomach? Like nothing, very insignificant. It keeps going and collecting, and in practically one entire year, like 365 days, it's able to collect this much honey. That's all, this much. Okay, and now there are thousands of them in one honeycomb. So they all are working hard day and night, every day, 365 days in a year, and then they collect like this much honey. And what happens to that honey? Almost all the time, they're not able to enjoy that honey, because some hunter comes, like this bear. Sometimes the bear comes, or sometimes a hunter comes, like a human being, a guy, and then it puts some fire, and the smoke forces the honeybees to fly away for some time, and then that guy breaks the honeycomb from the tree, because he wants to take all the honey out, and then he wants to sell it and earn some money. So all the hard work for all the entirety of the year was done by the honeybees. And who enjoys the honey? The bear or the hunter, right? Similarly, in our life, we should also know that if we are doing excessive hard work unnecessarily, like you may neglect sometimes some good habits, like praying to Krishna, chanting Krishna's names, or somebody may say, I don't have time for these kind of programs. Okay, what will I learn from this? Or sometimes your parents are telling you to do something, and I don't have time, I have to work hard. But there's no use working so hard in this world, that anyways one day the power of time will be such that it will take away everything from us. So we should know that while we are working hard in this world, we should also take out time to improve our own self, to invest. Like if you keep collecting money, and this, and not money may not be a good example for it, but I mean, if you keep doing only the academic things, or like playing with children games and all, see, with time those things will go. But if you also spend some time and energy learning spiritual things, chanting Krishna's names, even a few minutes a day, those investments nobody can steal. No bear can steal, no hunter can steal, no time can take away that. And that will always remain with you, yours forever. Okay, like that. So this is called Shreyas versus prayers, long-term goals versus short-term goals. And one last thing before we end, this is called the power of mind. So we began with mind, we'll end with mind. So what is this power of mind? You see this elephant? What do you see in this picture? Something is there, very strange or whatever. Do you notice something, and can you tell me that?
It's a rope tied to something.
Yeah, very good. It's tied. It's tied. One leg of it is tied. Yes, correct. So what do you feel more like? Come on. You feel something for that elephant, like?
Sad.
You feel sad. Okay, that's good. Do you also feel that the elephant can probably do something for itself?
Yes.
What can it do? What do you think it can do?
Take its trunk and untie the knot.
Yes, that's very true. it can untie the like. Do you feel that the elephant must be having strength for it, like perceiving by the size of the elephant and the size of the rope? What do you say? Will the elephant be having the strength to disentangle himself from the rope? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, good. Yes, it was. Come on, this rope is nothing. I mean, it can do much bigger things. Why is it that the elephant is still agreeing to be tied up to that rope and not having that belief in his own strength that he can actually free himself from that rope? You know
Because
why?
his
Yeah.
mind is limited. Because his mind power is limited.
Brilliant, excellent. This is exactly what this example is teaching us. So in his childhood, in this elephant's childhood means maybe sometime before when he was younger, somebody tied him up with a, with some pillar or something, by using a rope. And when he was small, probably that rope was also big and he could not free himself. Okay, at that time, really, like he would have tried, he couldn't do it. Eventually, in next few years or in next few months, he grew. And he now has strength to cut or pull probably tens of ropes, simultaneously. But his mind has accepted that kind of thing. That no, I cannot. When I'm tied to this rope, I'm done. So we should not allow our minds to limit us. We should know that God or Krishna can empower us, can bless us, and we can do a lot. Okay, we need to discover ourselves out. Okay, so pray to Krishna, offer a little prayer, chant his holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and then go out there, try. Okay, so I'll end with one story in 2 minutes from Chicago. I love this story very much because it teaches one to become a very good friend, okay, in someone's life. How? So I'll share two stories in one minute, and then I'll share the lesson. So first story is that of a person. His name was Easy Eddie. Okay, this guy was a lawyer, and he was a very big lawyer. Now this is a real life story. It actually happened in Chicago few decades back. So this guy was a big lawyer, and he was like super rich because in his 30-40 years of practice of law, he had earned millions of dollars. So he had a son, and this son was in college at that time, and his life was like luxurious and wealthy, and he was kind of very happy. So at one point of time, somebody told him that your father has earned all this money by making many people's lives miserable, by probably on the blood of many families and the murder of many families, he has earned all this money. He becomes shocked. He's taken aback. He's surprised. He used to worship the example of his father. Just look at my father. He's so good in every way. But this was totally a news to him. So he goes and confronts his father that I have heard that you actually help a mafia, a don, or a gangster. I don't know what you call that in America, but one of these terms probably you understand. That you probably help a drug lord to actually infiltrate drugs and do other criminal activities in the state, and then you using the law you cover up his activities, and that's how he gives you a lot of funds, a lot of money, and that's how you have built your life and this house and everything. Is it true? I want to know it, Dad. Is it true? And his father was ashamed because it was true, and he didn't want to lie from his son. He said, yes son, it's true. But believe me, I didn't do it for myself. I did it for you and your mother, and I wanted to give you a great life. And I don't know, but I just felt it was, it was appropriate for me to do, and I did it. So forgive me. But his son said, I just can't stand this fact that I'm your son, and that my life I spent money, and I used things which were bought at the cost of many families and many individuals. No, I don't want this. I don't want to live with this truth. So today I separate myself from you. I am ashamed to call myself your son. I no longer want to have any connection. And he left that very day. He left his father. He left his home. He left his family. He left that place forever. And before doing so, he told his father, if you have any shame left, even as a human being, then you should go to the police and you should reveal all the things about this don, this mafia, this gangster, and and you should yourself also surrender to the police. You should actually accept a punishment for what wrongs you did to the people, so many people. And then probably I may be at least happy to accept that you are my father. So anyways, he left. His father couldn't do it. But after some time, his father felt, what is the use of my life? My son is feeling like this for me, and I myself ashamed about myself in my own heart. So then he decides, let's do it. So he goes to the police, he surrenders himself, and he tells everything about that mafia. That mafia also gets caught, but of course, that mafia gets this fellow killed. So this Easy Eddie, he gets killed actually, because the mafia gets him shot out there on the street. Now, anyways, leave this. I'll tell you second story. I told you about two stories. The second story is, at one point of time, I don't know which year it was, but this is very famous in American history. There was I think it was the Pearl Harbor incident, when the Japanese planes attacked an American harbor where all the like the seaport was there, and a lot of ships were there. So it was one of the blackest days in America's history. So at Pearl Harbor, right? So there was this one pilot. Okay, he was having a fighter plane, and his name was Butcher O'Hare. Butch O'Hare, something like that. O'Hare. O'Hare was there in the last in his title surname. So he was one of the young pilots at that time, and he had this fighter plane, and he was also like flying on behalf of America. And they were less in number, these American fighter planes, and they had to face a whole large fleet of Japanese bomber planes. And these guys had come suddenly, so the American fighter planes were not exactly prepared. Like, they had not fully fueled up their tanks, they were not loaded with all the bombs and all, and definitely they were not prepared mentally. They didn't have a strategy, and they had to just like spontaneously go for it. So here it is, the entire scene, these Japanese bombs are coming and bombing, and the whole thing is messy, and these American jets are in the air, they're trying to attack, but there's always fear of yourself getting killed. But there was this one guy, this Butch O'Hare. He was so brave, he was so courageous, and his tank was getting like, it didn't have much fuels left, so he was wondering, what should I do? But he suddenly got an inspiration that today, let me put my life at stake. Let me put my life at stake. And let me fight for America. Otherwise, so many thousands of people are going to get killed. So he alone, just fearlessly, just barged in the entire Japanese fleet. And I don't know how many, but he alone shot many of the Japanese planes. And he was like so fearless that the rest of the Japanese planes, they became fearful. They thought, this guy is like, he has no fear only, absolutely. He's just, he's going crazy. It's like, as if like, it's like video game for him. So they became fearful and they lost their confidence. They all flew back. So who was this guy? This guy came back. For your kind information, he came back. He landed safely back his plane. This guy was the son of that lawyer, Easy Eddie. That son who left. And his inspiration to do this, to lay down his life, was his father. That my father did wrong throughout his life. But for me, out of love, he could sacrifice his life. He had that courage, he had that character. Today, for a better cause, for serving so many people, for serving, my country, America, can I not lay down my life? Can I not take that risk? So you see, his father became his best friend as an inspiration by his quality of doing the right, of choosing to do the right. Now, I'm not saying that we have to lay down our lives and sacrifice, and or we have to go for a war or something. But in our own life, if we can exhibit good qualities in dealing with others, like if you are a good son or a good daughter to your parents, tomorrow your parents will be proud. When they go out in the society, they'll be proud. Look at my kid. So when you are displaying or exhibiting or practicing very good qualities in your life, when you choose to do so, you end up inspiring others. It may be your son or daughter, it may be your parents, it may be your friends, it may be your teachers, it may even be me. Anyone. Okay, so let's try to be somebody's friend. At least charity begins from home. So in our own home, by ourselves being a very good example, we can actually inspire many. Okay, so thank you very much. It was great to have all this time with all of you, and thank you for tolerating me. So you did good. You didn't log out. Hardly anyone logged out, so that was thumbs up. And all the best for your teenage. Teenage is the most difficult phase of life. Okay, so be safe and don't get into wrong association or wrong habits, and be dear to your parents. You are very dear to them already. If you accept that fact that whatever they are trying to teach you, it may sometimes sound little, not so good. That's fine, but try to accept the essence. That they are your best well wishers. Okay. And if anything you found useful in this, it belongs to Srila Prabhupada's credit, because Srila Prabhupada gave us these books based on our own ancient wisdom literature, like Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I was just putting things in the right perspective from your point of view. Okay, it is not that they were mine. And if something was not good, that must be my presentation. Okay? That's not Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very nice lesson for the children. So at this point, I will open the floor for asking any questions. Children, you might have some questions to ask, to clarify something, or reflections on what you have heard today. So please open up your camera and talk to His Grace Achyuta Mohan Prabhu. He is here to help us out. So please be.
Although I respect your proposal, Prabhuji, but I feel it's already too much for them. Don't you think so?
Yeah. Well, so let's see. Does any have any questions? Please, can you raise your hand?
No question, Prabhuji.
Sundar Gopal Prabhu, do you have some comments?
Yes, Prabhuji, I just want to thank Achyuta Mohan Prabhu for wonderful, very, very nice stories which can youth can relate to. So really appreciate Prabhuji with colorful presentations and drawings. Kids can retain in their head for long, and it is not only kids, actually we all enjoyed this. I myself enjoyed these stories. So thank you so much for your time, and really appreciate that. Yeah, towards the end you made a comment that your parents are the well-wisher of the kids, which is nice. That kids sometimes may not think that way, but yes, parents are the well-wishers. and really appreciate all the kids, even the little Rishabh and other kids who are participating and interacting. And there are some kids who were on YouTube as well, so obviously they couldn't interact. So I think we probably was wondering that we may actually just keep a Zoom link, so that way all kids can get on the Zoom and they can be keep their camera on and then be more interactive.
Yes, that
That's
would be
the-
wonderful. Wonderful suggestion, Prabhuji. I
Yeah.
hope that all kids take active participation in this discussion, just like an interactive course, and also keep their camera on will be nice. So we should think we can.
Probably there is this one way of to convert this thing into a quiz. There are some platforms where 1 minute, 2 minutes quizzes can, like, all the things can be converted, and they are very good, like in front end, like how they appear on the
Yes,
screen.
Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe you can give them little small assignment or something that
Yeah.
look forward to this next present next week
Keep
so
them
they
going.
yeah
Yes.
so they have something to think about during the weekend, come little prepared.
So maybe next time in future, whenever we get to meet by arrangement of Krishna, we can do something like that. But anyways, what I'm more happy about is the concern you guys have for your kids out there. So that shows you are rooted in in very good aspirations yourself. So thank you.
Thank you.
So probably, Prabhuji, we will schedule you in September now. The next two Saturdays are booked, confirmed. Coming Saturday, 21st would be Sanatan Dharma Prabhu. And on 28th, Sugopi Devi Dasi. So we have two more speakers. And in September, before that, I will contact you well in advance, Prabhuji. So you have to let me know what Saturdays you are free in September.
Yeah.
And then
You
we'll
can
work it
remind
out.
me in September. I'll tell you that time.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. We'll work it out.
Thank
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Let's
Hare Krishna.
thank Prabhuji by saying Hare Krishna mantra, everybody together. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Jai Ho.
Very much, Prabhuji.
Hare
Yeah. His Grace Achyut Mohan Prabhuji ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki